Where's the funnest place you've toured and why?
Personally, I always liked Western Canada. It's got a the audiences are great. Rock and roll is very strong there. And also Mexico has been and Mexico is great. Mexico City in particular was just a blast. It's just amazing. Like there's 35 when we were there were 30 million people living in Mexico City. So you got have almost the population of Canada living in one city. So you can just imagine like the energy there.
Yeah.
So I always really liked that. That was always fun.
And what's the biggest stadium that you guys have played at? I don't know if you
We
remember.
yeah we did there was a festival called Edge Fest, which was kind of like a precursor to Lollapalooza.
Okay.
Um, that was about 30,000, I think.
Whoa, that's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a different show at 30,000, than it is for like, 1,500 or 2,000, which was our norm. Um, yeah, it's big. You can't tell if people are like watching or not.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, what's the energy difference like? Like, what does it feel like to perform, and in those two different aspects, and then also like, do you perform differently, or is it just that like it's just the amount of people that changes?
You do perform a little differently, I guess. Um, Maybe your movements are more exaggerated in a bigger stage, like to make them bigger. But there's always screens as well, so you know that you're being projected at like at like the height of like 40 or 50 feet or something. So there's that, but it's just not as immediate. Like if I play a place that's say 1,500 people, I know that I can jump off stage and I can touch the person in the front row. At a festival, you you can't do that as easily. Like you got to get off stage, you got to walk like a long way to the barrier, you know. But it can still be done, and we always try and do that. Like we always try and connect to the audience. We're not really a band that just kind of isolates themselves on stage as this separate thing. Um, and then crowds are bigger, so they're louder, but the feedback is like uh, it's kind of hard to explain because it's like you're zooming out, right? So you see the crowd, but you really have to like how I don't know how far away the first person is. Maybe they're like 30 feet away in a crowd that size, and then you really have to like focus to see people's faces and their expressions and stuff like that. And there's so many of them, you can't really do that. Whereas in like a club show, you can do that much more easily. Like you see people pretty clearly. Those are just some of the differences. But I mean, I like them both. Like they're both a lot of fun.
Do, Man, I can't even imagine like what when you step out there and there's just there's a 30,000 person crowd. Like,
Yeah.
what does that? Can you just maybe describe a little bit about what that feels like? Because you just mentioned, there's so many people all around. It's hard to distinguish all the faces. It's
Yeah.
like, and it's to think that there's 30,000 people here who came to see me play the show. Like, that must be an almost indescribable feeling.
It's fun. Yeah, it's really fun. It's yeah, it's thrilling. It's the thrilling part of it for me, and I think for us, is that it's live and you can't retake it. You can't do another you don't get another shot at it. So whatever you do in that next hour or hour and a half is you gotta live with it. And that's really exciting. Like it's live performance is exciting for that reason. And seeing bands live is exciting for that reason as well, because you're only you and them are experiencing this thing right now, and nobody else in the world is ever gonna experience it, and that's kind of special. So yeah, I love it, and it overrides any sort of nerves that I might feel. It's just really exciting.